Hi everyone, it's Jenny from Haphazard Book Nook, and today I'm going to be doing an end of the year book tag. So I first saw this book tag on Larry Reed's channel, but the person who created it is Destiny Sidwell. The questions were a little different on each of their videos, so I kind of did like a mashup of both of them. I think that Larry might have just adjusted her questions to fit her channel better. So I did like a mashup of both. So the first question is, what is your most disappointing read of the year? My most disappointing read of 2024 has been The Woodkin by Alexander James. This book, I had the highest hopes for. It was the very first Twisted Retreat book I ever bought. I bought it secondhand. I thought that it was so pretty. And when I finally got around to listening to it, it was not great. It was probably my least favorite, one of my least favorite reads of the year, which is really disappointing. Number 2 is, what is your favorite underdog book of the year? So for this one, I did one that had some of the fewest amount of reviews. So I did Our Father's Burden by William F. Gray. I absolutely love this book. It is a creature feature type horror book that I thought was great. It only has like 200 and some reviews, so like not many at all. And I don't really understand why, because I thought it was really good. Next is a book that you feel is overhyped that you read. So I read Mayfly by CJ Lead. I don't understand. I don't know why it has such a high rating. I would have DNF'd this if it wasn't for 11 Horror Book Club book read for this year. I wasn't a fan, and so I feel like all of the hype that it gets is I don't get it. Next is a book that surprised you. So for this one, I have The Terror by Dan Simmons. I went into this book, I needed one that had a cryptid that I didn't know anything about, and I went into this one just because it was one of the first ones that I saw that I already had owned. And I absolutely love this book. I read it. I wanted to flip back and just like start reading it over again. I watched the TV show multiple times. Like, it's probably one of my favorite books of the year. Number 5 is your favorite book couple. So I like all of the couples in the 3 Rena Kent books that I've read from the Legacy of God series, but my favorite is the 2 from God of Pain. They are my favorite characters. I'm super excited to get to the one that has Maya because she's super adorable. I believe that that's the last book, but she's so cute and I'm super excited to get to her, and it's Def Rep, which I feel like we need more of. Number 6 is your favorite main character, and I actually like both of the main characters. This could probably have gone in couples, but I like their personalities like separate and together. So I like the 2 main characters from Kimberly Lemming's book, That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. I thought that those characters were so cute, and like their interactions with each other were just super adorable. So number 7 is going to be a new favorite author or new favorite authors. So I've already mentioned Rena Kent before, but she's definitely a new favorite author. But I also really like Leah Riley's books. I read the Mr. Hockey trilogy and I read Puck and Prejudice, and I liked all 4 of those books. So I will give anything that she puts out a try. So far, I haven't hated anything that she's written. Number 8 is an author that didn't work out for you. And for this one, I'm going to put Frida McFadden. I read 2 of her books. I read The Teacher and The Inmate. I saw a lot of it coming from both of them. So I don't know. It's just, I wasn't a fan. So I also didn't like her writing. I've never read the Housemaid books. I don't know that I ever will, honestly. I wasn't a fan. All right, so no, the next book is your happiest read of the year. So I chose this one as the book that made you the happiest. And this one definitely is Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis. This book made me so happy. Like, as I was reading it, it was so cute. The garlic, all the little characters. It was just so adorable. And then on the flip side of that is the saddest book that you read. And for this one, it is definitely The Hen Who Dreamed She Could Fly. This book, I went into it knowing it probably wouldn't be the happiest book, but as somebody who has and loves chickens, just like the fact that she was like in an eggling, it's just the whole thing. Just If you want to feel sad for an animal, go ahead and read that, and know that I'm right there with you. The next one is going to be your most frustrating read of the year, and I'm going to go with Nosferatu by Joe Hill. This one I'm choosing because there were a couple perspectives that I liked. There were a couple things about it that I liked, but overall I feel like he didn't do what I would have wanted done with it. So it was just kind of like irritating to me. First off, that we were bouncing around different perspectives so much, but then second, that he was doing things just like totally different than how I wanted it to go. So that was definitely one of my most frustrating reads of the year. The next is your favorite book adaptation. So I only watched 2 book adaptations this year. One was a movie and one was a TV show, so I'm just counting both of them. So the first one is Christmas Land by Anne Marie Meyer. It was super adorable. It was made into Believe in Christmas from the Hallmark Channel. And then the second one is The Terror that I already talked about. That is a TV show. There's only like 10 episodes, but it was pretty good up until the last like 2 episodes. Then it kind of like went a little like off how the book was, but overall I really like that adaptation for that one. 13 is your favorite book cover, and I chose to do it as your favorite book cover for books that you've read this year, not for books that came out this year. So I chose Under the Surface by Diana Urban. This I feel like is so pretty because it's in the Paris catacombs. So you have the Eiffel Tower in the picture, you have the skull, you have the little people that are like walking around in the caves that are like the eyes in the skull. I think it's really cute, and like the little bit of eeriness totally like matches up with how the book actually is. Next is a book that you haven't stopped thinking about. This one I'm going to do Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. I've recommended this book to quite a few people. There are a lot of the other books that I've mentioned that I also think about a lot, but I'm trying not to do repeats or minimize repeats, so that is the book that I'm going to put for this one. Next is going to be an unpopular book I loved. I chose Survive the Night by Riley Sager. So I know Riley Sager is like a super popular author, but I feel like Survive the Night, a lot of people haven't liked because of its like road trip-ish aspect of it. But I ended up actually really liking it. Next is a book that you thought that you would love, but you didn't. This one I'm choosing Goodbye Earl by Lisa Cross Smith. I really like the Dixie Chicks. Like, I've always liked them, so I was expecting to love this song, or this song. I was expecting to love this book, and I just found it kind of mid. It didn't need to be as long as it did. It had like 2 different timelines, and I don't know that it really needed to have 2 different timelines. It could have like condensed it down a lot more. I don't know. I really was hoping to love this one, and I just didn't. Next is a book that has a unique concept, and for this one, it's zombies, but the way that the zombies become zombies in Rust-Colored Rain by Otto Schaefer, I feel like was really unique, and I really liked the way that he did it. And I'm like halfway through the second book, and then I think the third one comes out in 2025, and I'm so excited for it to come out. Next is a book that you would reread. So anybody who knows me knows that I love Devolution by Max Brooks. So a non-Bigfoot version of this, I feel, is Fantastic Land by Mike Bogovan. I would absolutely love to read this again. I feel like a lot of it's probably because of the way that there was the interview aspect is probably why I like this one so much, but I really want to reread that Fantastic Land. The next one is, did you complete your Goodreads reading goal, and what is your reading goal for next year? So I did reach mine. Mine was really low because I knew I was going to be moving this year, but I still was able to read. I think by the time I'm filming this, I read like 150 something books, and for next year I'm going to have my goal be 2 per week, so it will be 104 books. Number 20 is a book that you wish that you had gotten to this year, and that is definitely I Married a Mothman by Regine Abel. I love cryptid books, and I like Mothman, and so I think it's going to be super cute. And when I was at Sinners and Stardust, she actually held on to this book for me, and it made me so happy. So I'm super excited to get to it. It just hasn't happened yet, but I'm definitely going to make sure that I read it in 2025. All right, so for the next 2, they're like comparing books. So the first one is, what's the longest book that you read, and what's the shortest book you read? So the longest book is definitely The Terror by Dan Simmons. The copy I read is almost 1,000 pages. On Goodreads it has it at about 770 pages, but the one I read was almost 1,000. So I'm counting that. And then the shortest is All by My Elf by Olivia Dade. I believe it was like 55 pages. It was super short. It's just a little Christmas novella. And then the next one is your highest and lowest rated books, and if you agree with the ratings that those have. So All by My Elf by Olivia Dade is the lowest rated at 2.62. I gave it a 2 star, so I do agree with that. And then with a 4.59, it's a 3-way tie between Heartstopper Volume 4 and then The Cursed Princess Club Volumes 2 and 3. So all 3 of these are graphic novels. I gave Heartstopper all of them a 3. They were just like, okay. But I gave the Cursed Princess Clubs both 5 stars. So I definitely agree with the Cursed Princess Club. And I know a lot of people like Heartstopper, so like it's not upsetting or anything to me. It's just, it wasn't my favorite. So I gave it a bit lower rating than what it has. So those were the 22 questions from the end of your book tag. Go ahead and do this tag if you would like as well, or you could leave your comments down below of what your answers would be. I'm really interested to know some of these, for especially some of like my friends on BookTube, and to see like how their answers would differ, because I know that some of us read quite differently. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you would like to, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.